Greetings everyone and welcome to Brickcats. Today I'm revisiting David Buchholz's revision of his Republic Gunship for this episode of Rewind, the series in which I take a look at some models I reviewed in the not so distant past and run through my pricing research process again. In the time since I did a deep dive on these models, parts availability might have changed, pick-a-brick has gotten better, and parts lists themselves might have changed as well. If you're interested in this model, you can get a 15% discount using my code, CATS15 on BrickVault's website. This is a great way to support my channel, and thank you in advance if you decide to use it. I do receive a small amount of compensation each time someone uses my code, but this does not affect my opinion on the model either way. I built the Clone Wars variant, and unfortunately I no longer have the model assembled, so there may be some errant hand gestures throughout this video that don't match up with the audio. In November 2023, Bricklink gave me 10 stores and $328 without shipping and tax, or about $411 with shipping and tax for the red version of the gunship and the stand. The substitutions I recommend are as follows. All of the Technic pins and axles can be any color you have already, as they are not visible in the final build, with the exception of a few axles in the stand, but these are not a big deal in my opinion. The stand also calls for the 60-tooth turntable top in light bluish gray, part 18939, and the base in black 18938. These elements are extremely difficult to separate once put together initially, so most sellers list the combined part number, part 18939C01, which will likely save you some money and a store. The 4 Technic Slope 33 6x1x1 2/3 long wingback, part 2744 in white are completely hidden and can be any color. White isn't too expensive, but there are cheaper colors as well. The missiles under the wings require 8 blunt grenade tips, part 40598C, 8 smaller tapered grenade tips, part 40598D, and 8 minifigure telescopes, part 64644. You can easily get away with cones, part 4589B, lightsaber hilts 64567, and 1x1 round bricks, part 3062B, in light bluish gray, black, and light bluish gray respectively for a cheaper alternative. The missile launcher assemblies call for 16 brick modified 1x1 with studs on 4 sides in black, part 4733. Only 4 of these, 2 each, have to be in black, the 2 on either side of the small opening at the top, and the rest can be any color as they are completely hidden. The timing wheel 8-tooth, part 32060 in light gray is very uncommon these days, and unfortunately these are integral to the build and hold the missiles. You may have some luck with light bluish gray, but you may just have to bite the bullet on these. The Technic lift arm thin 1x5 in white, part 32017, is highly exposed at the rear of the ship. While it definitely looks better in white, these lift arms are very expensive, so light bluish gray is an understandable substitute. The train window 1x2x3, part 4035, can be substituted with the plain window 1x2x3, part 60593. The plain window is widely available and works just as well. The pieces representing the vents in the back are slightly less stable with the plain window, and you will be able to see through the vents a little bit into the interior of the rear section. However, there's still a good amount of friction in the connection, and to me these are absolutely fine trade-offs when compared with paying upwards of $4 each for the train window, in addition to probably adding a store. The 2 plant tree palm trunk short connector axle hole with 2 inside prongs, part 2536D, are very hard to find. These models do come with a cheap part list that substitutes these out for the common Technic pieces, but I think it looks a lot better with a bit of a taper at the end of the missile launcher. The best substitute I found was the cone 1 1/2 by 1 1/2 by 2/3 truncated, part 33492 in black, with an additional 2 Technic half pins and 2 Technic lift arm 1x1s, part 18654. This combination doesn't give you quite the same shape, but it's the only other piece I know of that comes close in terms of width without being too narrow or too fat. The transition from the missile launcher to the muzzle isn't as smooth, but I still think it looks pretty good, especially for the price. The tile round 2x2 with Star Wars Republic pattern, part 4150PS6, is the printed tile, and these do look a lot better than the sticker tiles, but the sticker tiles are an order of magnitude less expensive. I would go with part 4150PB002B in white. The minifigure neck bracket with back stud, thin back wall, part 42446 in dark red, forms part of the red pattern on the wings. They are not particularly visible, especially from above, so I think you're fine using the much cheaper and more available reddish brown. The old style hinge plates with fingers are specified as the undetermined type, parts 4275 and 4276 in white. I changed these to the hollow stud variants, part 4275B and 4276B, as most sellers list the correct stud variant instead of listing them as undetermined. Finally, parts for the two speeder bikes are included in the parts list but don't have a note or a comment next to them if you don't care about those builds. I built one, and while it's very nice looking, it's also a little fragile, and if you're looking to further pare down on cost, you can omit the following elements. My pricing research does include these elements, however. With all of my substitutions, my algorithm results went down to 8 stores and $256 before shipping and tax, or about $323 after shipping and tax, and that's $88 less than what I started with. And buying as many elements as I could from Pick-a-Brick, my Pick-a-Brick total was $249 including tax, but did not include any shipping and handling charges. The remaining elements from Bricklink came from 3 stores and $35 without shipping and tax, or about $55 with shipping and tax, for a total of $304 or $107 less than where I started. There may be some other efficiencies you can pick up by purchasing more from Bricklink, vice new from Pick-a-Brick. Some of the more common elements like 1x-N plates and Technic pins are likely cheaper on Bricklink to begin with. Of course, you always have to weigh the risks of used pieces versus new, but I'm reasonably certain you could get this well under $300 if you really wanted to spend some more time on it. Instructions for the Republic Gunship cost $25.99 from BrickVault, and there will be a link in the description to BrickVault's page where you can buy them if you choose to. There are instructions and parts lists for the standard Clone Wars variant as well as the Plos Bros color scheme. There's also instructions available for an Episode 2 gunship, as well as a pack with all 5 variants for $39.99. Remember, you can use my discount code CATS15 for 15% off the cost of the instructions. Again, thank you in advance if you choose to use it to take a bite out of the cost. Thanks as always for watching this episode of Rewind featuring version 2 of David Buchholz's Republic Gunship. If you've built this model, you have something to share that I left out, or have a question about something I didn't cover, please leave them below in the comments. Remember to leave the video a like, subscribe to the channel, or follow me on Instagram if you haven't already, and I hope to see you back next time.